Alright, how you doing? Welcome back to the next video in the Soldier of Fortune 2 Unreal Edition series. A few changes this time. I did want to get the display settings and audio settings done, and I have done for the most part. They just need a little bit tidied up, but I wanted to get this video because we're coming to the end of the month. So a few things to show you. First of all, initially when I started this, I made a slight mistake. I thought the Unreal Engine could be used either with C++ or Blueprints, but not both. I thought they were exclusive of each other, but that's not the case. So I'm no expert in C++, but I would prefer to use that and have that as an option rather than just purely Blueprints. So I started a new project using a C++ component and migrated everything over. So I'll show you that later on. But first of all, I'll show you the game. I've built it and packaged it, and I'll show you it running just now. See where we're at. So this page hasn't changed much since last time. I've done a few things with the edit box. I'm going to put in the color text, the text color that we had in the game. I've got the stuff off the internet to do that. Last time we saw the control layouts and all that sort of stuff. That's exactly as it was. That's working, and I still haven't done the mouse sensitivity. Last time I said there was a problem when you press down on the mouse here. Gave you a horizontal slide bar on the cursor. Well, I changed from a slider to a SoF2UE, which is pretty much a slider, but you can change the Y position as well, which kind of moves up and down there. But I fixed the cursor there, the Y position of the cursor to a constant value. So whenever you move the value in X, Y value always stays the same. So anyway, that's that done. We'll do audio settings first. Moving on to the audio settings, two more SoF2U's, two more sliders, effect volume. So all those sounds there, that's effects. Put the volume down, all the way down to 0, you'll hear them, all the way up, and obviously low. So the multiplier, the factor that they're multiplied by is a variable that I chose, and I just chose 2 because it's reasonable. Music volume, much the same. Turn it off, all the way up. So, audio quality, in the game it was audio frequency. You had a choice of 11 kHz or 22 kHz, and there was no option as I saw in Unreal Engine to do that, but I realised all that is sort of CPU memory usage with the 11 kHz using less memory and CPU. So I just looked at what Unreal Engine does, and it gives you this audio quality. So high quality is 32 channels, low quality 8 channels, and medium quality 16 channels. And that's built into Unreal Engine as a component of that. So that's that. Going on to display settings. The quality section at the top there is just it will be low, medium, low, normal, high, and ultra. And that whenever you choose one, it will set those settings to all the other settings as in the game. I haven't done that but yet because I wanted to show you this one first. GL driver, open GL32 as it said in the original game, is just text there. Unreal Engine uses what it calls RHI, which is render hardware interface. On Windows it's generally DirectX 11 or 12 or Vulkan or OpenGL as well. So in the window title, in the title bar of the game, which I'll show you in a second, I'll just show you now. Full screen right now is windowed full screen, which is what I think I'm going to go with. You can have it as windowed, or you can have it as full screen, or windowed full screen. So as you see there, it applies as soon as you click on it. I'm going to change that to use the apply changes button at the bottom there, but I wanted to show you there. All the settings apply as you press them, but I'll change that moving forward. Video mode is just the different resolutions. That when the game starts up, it finds the available resolutions supported by your graphics card, puts them into a string array, and gives you the option here. So you can't see it changing there, but if I go into windowed, you can see that it changes there. So on my laptop, 1080, 1920 1080 is the highest, and it goes down to 102.4 I'm not going to go down to a 640 by 480, which was part of the original game. It just gets what your graphic card supports, and my laptop doesn't support that, so I quite like 1600 by 900. So visual effects, all this is going to do is give you the different values. So as you can see, the options there are not the same as they were in the original game. I was going to keep the original options, things like colour depth and texture detail and all that sort of thing, but as I was looking into Unreal Engine, I'll show you that once I open all the options that were there. A lot of them are no longer kind of relevant, and sort of times have moved on technology wise. So what I did was I decided, instead of just making an exact copy of the game, I'll look at what Unreal Engine offers and I'll just put that in just now. So Unreal Engine has the option to set the quality of visual effects, anti-aliasing, shadow quality, texture quality, shadow quality, shading quality, shadow quality, view distance and 30%. So I just put that in just now, and come the time as the game develops, I'll change that to what is necessary to make it a better experience. So there was something else I was going to say there, but I can't remember what that was. Yes, they are applying as you change them. I could do a print screen that shows you the value as it changes, but they are applying the same way that the video mode applies. So what I'll do there, that's that pretty much working. What I'll do there is I'll get everything the same way it was in the game, not applying when you press it, but I'll put it to an apply. You press apply change and it comes up with a window, do you want to do it or not. So that is the display setup and the audio setup working as it was in the original game. These options here, so when I changed to the C++, because of all my fonts, well, that's something I need to redo. When the fonts changed, because I was using the original font, not the original font, the standard one that comes with Unreal Engine, Roboto, which was fine, but it obviously wasn't the SoF2 font. So when I changed to the C++ project, all my fonts went tiny. I don't know why. So that one there, which is miscellaneous setup, scalability options, network, and CD key, they're not going to take too long. They'll be done for the next video, and after that, that's all the options of the game done. So after that, we've got the parental lock, the violence lock, which I will make the interface for as it was in the game, but I'm probably not going to put that in because I don't know anyone that ever used it. Mods, I don't know what I'm going to do there. Probably the same, put the interface on, but all the functionality and commands that the mods had, I'm going to build into the game, and perhaps even work with the mod, and we'll see what happens here. So what I'll do with mods, that is done. So that's obviously didn't finish the video. Create server, I haven't touched yet, but I will do that as well, and then join server is the last thing I'm going to do. So yeah, that's it. So that's the package game as it is just now, with the controls and display and audio setup, controls, and fully pretty much complete. The only thing I have to do in the player setup is I'm going to apply the textures to the UE4 mannequin and get it to allow you to select each of the images there as it did in the game. I'm going to fix the edit box to allow you to put in your clan name, your player name, and it will save. It will be persistent when you close the game. So that's player setup almost done. Controls is done, display is done, audio is done. Display isn't quite done yet. We need to do the apply changes. Audio and the rest should be easily done soon. Next couple of videos, the options will be done, and the only thing I suspect will take a certain amount of time will be the join server, but we'll see how it goes. So, a couple of things. The font. When I first started looking into the user interface, I found this file in one of the PK3 files from the game, and it's the font they use in the game. It's called HUD HUD font. It comes as two files. It comes as a PNG file, which that, and it comes as a font data. And I looked at this and I thought, that's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. And when I looked into how it works, I was right, it is a pain in the arse. All those characters, there's a function in the code of the game that using the data, I think the font data file tells the function where all these characters are, the position and the font size and that sort of stuff. So when I looked at this, I thought that's going to be quite difficult. So I put it off and I put it off. And I remember, if you remember in the last videos, the last couple of videos, I said the Roboto font that comes with Unreal Engine is not bad. But I thought, no, I want to make it as close as to the original game as I can. So I eventually looked at this and I thought, am I going to have to write code that picks out each character and creates a font? I thought, that's going to be tough. That's going to be quite tough. But I found this guy online. What is it? OMGWTFLOL.rivercrew.net, and he's created something called OpenSoF2UE. He's basically taken the Raven released the source code for Jedi Knight a number of years ago, and he's taken it because Soldier of Fortune 2 and Jedi Knight were out at the same time, so the code base is going to be pretty similar. So he's taken the JK source engine and he's modified it to run the SoF2 code and obviously to try and get it again. He hasn't done anything since 2014, but when you look at what he's done, some of it's quite good. So he got quite far. He's got the level loaded and he's got the user face. I don't know, he started off down here as I did. I don't know how much of that user interface that he did. But eventually he's obviously, I think, prioritised getting the map going and getting the characters in the game and that sort of thing, so that's fair enough. But you can obviously get his source code at GitHub, which I then did, and I've had a little look. And so with regards to the font, I found the file with all the commands. It's TR. It's in so that when you open the project, you've got SoF2MP and you've got RD Vanilla, and in RD Vanilla you've got tr_fonts.cpp. I don't like C++ to be honest, but you know I can do it. But I don't really like it. So anyway, when the font is loaded in the game, you've got functions called getPointSize. Font, you've got the height of the characters, you've got the ascender and descender, which are the kind of top and bottom of the letter in a font. GetLetter, which returns a particular glyph from that PNG file. Letter width, letter horizon advance, and the shader to apply, which would give you the colour and the texture and that sort of stuff. So it's very, very complicated, and I thought that's going to be a pain in the ass putting all that code into Unreal Engine. So basically the HUD font used in SoF2 is not a font as in a TTF or True Type font in Windows. It's an image, and they load each character as the game is loaded, and dependent upon the resolution and display settings of the game will dictate the size of each character. So I mean, it obviously works, but it's very, very complicated and it's very, very big for me to translate that into Unreal Engine code. But then I realised, why don't I just make a font, a True Type font? And I thought, okay, that's fair enough. I've never actually made a font before. Something I've always kind of fancied doing. So I just went online. I found this site, calligrapher.com, and they give you a template like that, and you just draw your characters, and you can do it for any font you want. So I got their template, 2 files, basically the alphabet in small characters, the alphabet in big characters, numbers, and your basic punctuation. And I just sat down, I opened up the HUD PNG in GIMP, which I'll just show you how they unfortunately named GIMP. Which one will I do? That one. GIMP stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. So I think it was out. It's been out for a long time, GIMP, and I think it was actually out before Pulp Fiction. So you give them the benefit of the doubt. I opened the font in GIMP, and I simply just copied out the characters that I wanted, painted them black, which is your standard font colour, and that is basically the characters. That's basically the SoF2 font. and I just saved it as a PNG file, went on to calligrapher.com. No, I put it in their template, uploaded it, and they created the SoF2 font. That's the template that you upload, and they give you a font. There's two types of font: TTF, true type font, and OTF, which is in a kind of open source format. So I'm using OTF because I put that into Unreal Engine. It accepted it quite the thing, and I now have the complete font in the game. So I finally got it done. I haven't quite done all the characters, but we might not need all the characters, but I'll just redo it, add in extra characters as I need it. So by the way, if you like my picture there, it's a gamma ray burst. I drew that many years ago in Photoshop. Gamma ray burst of a blue hypergiant in space. It's apparently the most. I'm a physicist by trade. I've always liked astrophysics, that sort of stuff. So anyway, on to the game. Okay, so that's just the font there. Unreal Engine took it in quite a thing, and that's that done. So what do I want to? Okay. Right, so we'll just quickly do the audio first. So, as you can see, it's a slider 2D with a constant value for the Y value, so it should always be at that same position. I noticed there when I started the game, once you hold the mouse down, you can move up. I don't think it's going to bother too many people. So the way you attach the slider to the music and to the sound is as follows. Got a wee folder here, audio. You create so that would be, what is it again? Sounds, classes. You've got a sound class and a sound class mix. So you create a sound class mix, and then you attach a sound class to it. So I've got one for music and one for sounds. So if we open the one for music, that's just, you just create a class. You can configure those options if you want, but you don't have to. The default values are fine. So you create one for and give it a name, and then in the sound class mix you attach that. Now there's ones already made. Master is all sound at all. Music is just music and so forth. And I created one, and you attach the appropriate one to the sound class mix, and then you go into the code. Right, there you go. So this is the event on value changed, on X value changed for the effects volume synth. You set sound mix class override, apply the class, apply the correct mix. I've got a multiplier in the volume. The volume goes from 0 to 1, multiplier of 3, and that is multiplied to the value of the synth 2D. So that then sets the volume of any sound that the sound class is applied to. So what you would then do, you'd go into the actual sound files. Where have I got them? Bass, sound, miscellaneous, menus. Yes. So this one in there in class, you add the class you want that sound to be applied to be part of. So that's sounds only, and therefore any volume you set to that class sounds only is then applied to any file that is part of the class. I did one for sounds, one for music, and then I bound this value, the float value effects volume, to value X, and that's how you attach the slider value to the sound. And then I cast the GI menu as normal as I do. I've got this thing here. I use this plugin called Victory Blue BP plugin. It's a guy called Drama. It's really good. There's a lot of good stuff in it. So what I've done there is I've saved the value of the effects volume. I do it for the sound volume as well. And it says Victory, set custom config via float. So this goes into the game. Saved /config/windows game.ini in a section name called game.audio settings and a variable named FX volume and then the value. Do that for the sound value and the music value, and then that's on saved there, and then it's loaded back at the start of when the game starts. So I've got two new functions here: load audio settings and sequence of events. Number one, load and set file effects volume, which is what I just discussed. So look for the value. If it is there, grab it. If it isn't, set the default value and then set the sound of the effects and the music to that value. One for effects, one for music. Then get game user settings, get audio quality level. Yes, this is the frequency quality, the audio quality at the bottom. That used to be the audio frequency in the game. Set a local variable. Is that local? No, it's not. It's global. And then depending on the value, set the text of the text box, set the value of the audio quality in the local struct, cast the GI main in the global struct, and then this, as I say, is not really needed, but I'll keep it there until I decide what to do with it later. That's writing back the current value to the file. So that's load audio settings, and I think that's everything for audio. And if you change the audio quality, it's something that requires a restart, so you just get a message there that it's changed. So that's audio done. Into display. So most of this is similar because it's a function that comes with Unreal Engine. The code is pretty much similar for a lot of the stuff. I just went through. What you do is you just right click, you untick context sensitive, and then you just hit settings. Or actually you could just go down to settings section. Scalability might have stuff in it as well, but so there's settings, and then it's got all the gets. So I just went through them all and I looked at them and I thought, yeah, I want to put that in, don't want that one. There's one, get foliage quality. Foliage is to do with like all the trees and plants, and there's not that many of them in SoF, but that might be something we use later on. Last confirmed full screen mode. That's actually something I'm not going to use. Shading quality, shadow quality, texture quality. So a lot of things I did use, and that's them there. I can actually do them. There is one thing I haven't implemented yet that I will. Unreal Engine comes with this run hardware benchmark thing, which is quite good. So when your game starts up for the first time, that will run and it will apply the settings Unreal Engine thinks is appropriate for this game on your system. So that I'm going to put that in as well. Into load display settings. So in the event construct, load audio and then load display settings, the two new functions. So this goes in the sequence of, first of all, sets the quality, gets the RHI, full screen mode, video mode, visual effects quality, anti-aliasing quality, shading, texture, shadow, view distance, v-synced, and then cast it all to GI main. So first of all, get game user settings for the full screen mode. Is that the top one? It is. Oh yeah, because I haven't done quality and RHI yet. RHI is one of the reasons I went to do in C++ is because there is no blueprint, as far as I can tell, for that function. Get hardware info, name RHI, and what that does is that's the name of the sort of underlying graphic system that Unreal Engine uses, like OpenGL or Vulkan. What you can do is, if I go to new editor window, is it there? No, it is not. It's in the standalone game. So standalone game. Right, in the title bar there it says PCD3D_SM5. PCD3D, PC Direct 3D. That simply means Windows. SM5 is the RHI. So SM5 represents DirectX 11 or 12, or Vulkan on Windows, or OpenGL would be represented by ESI or ES1. So in order to set this value here, I just need to run that function, get hardware info, but there's no blueprint to do that. So I changed to C++. I haven't got around to doing that yet, but that's what I'm going to do, and just set that text box there. It's not, I don't think it's something, I think you can actually, in the project settings, you can tell Unreal Engine what to use. Target dates are right. So DirectX 11, default RHI. You can choose one. Vulkan, DirectX 11, DirectX 12. OpenGL doesn't appear to be an option there. I think OpenGL is the default on Linux, but I don't think you get DirectX on Linux. I'm not sure. I don't really use Linux. So anyway, get full screen mode. Comes as an enumeration, and then you just put that text into a text box. Just so happens that windowed full screen, the text is windowed full screen with a space, so I just wanted a space in it there. Get supported full screen resolutions that your graphics card supports, put them into a string array, set the local struct display settings, and cast the GI main to the global settings. And then get game user settings, get the current screen resolution, and put it into the text box. Next we have visual effects quality, a couple of global variables. That comes back as an integer, 0, 1, 2, or 3. So there's 4 settings: low, normal, high, or ultra. I think in Unreal Engine it's epic, not ultra, because that's like a pun on their company, Epic Games. So set that value in the string, again, local struct, cast the GI main, set the text. And that's the same for the rest of the options there. So you've got anti-aliasing quality, shading quality. Shading quality is not shadow. Shading is like models, like shaders, just so you know. Texture quality, and then shadow quality. View distance. View distance is just, if you set it to 100, any objects beyond 100 will not be shown, and everything before 100 will be. So, and VSync is just a boolean yes or no. So VSync is like, if you have, it's like a cap on your refresh rate. If you have a screen that's 60 Hz and you have a game that will run at 120 Hz, if you activate VSync, the game will be capped. I think that's what the game will be capped at the refresh rate, the maximum refresh rate of the screen. So it's like a cap on your refresh rate, something like that. It can be useful if they're out of sync. You might get what they call tearing, which is just distortions in the image as it's created, as it's displayed on screen. So VSync, and then obviously a local struct, and cast the GI main, set the text box yes or no. And there's also something here, is VSync enabled, yes or no. Is dirty, this is a phrase in Unreal Engine. It means, is the game settings different from the desktops, the computer settings? So you could have VSync enabled in the game, but VSync is not enabled in the desktop settings, so you might have a conflict there. So all that happens here, I think I've done this right, I'm not too sure. If it is different, then you just apply the value of the game to Windows. That's what I've done there. So I hope that's going to work. So that's load display settings. It's just a test function where I keep stuff. Put in the run hardware benchmarks at some point. And that's load display settings on start. And we go all the way down to here. What's that there? Apply changes, we'll get to that. So full screen, it's pretty much the same code, except this time you get game user settings and you switch on the enumeration value, and then you if it's full, you do the next one down. So if it's windowed, it will go to full screen. If it's full screen, it will go to windowed full screen. If it's windowed full screen, it will go to windowed. Apply settings, and then the usual, saving the data, saving the result. What's this? Video mode. So a lot of string operations here because it's set as text. To do looking through the arrays, getting the correct value, and then applying it to the text box after applying that, after setting the actual resolution. all the code is pretty much the same there, because they all pretty much do the same thing. You've got the event function, get game user settings, get the value, apply it, save it, and that's that. And that is therefore display settings and audio settings done. So as you can see with this green comments here, I'm going to tidy everything up. A lot of this code is getting a bit busy on my event graph here. A lot of this code is going to get put into functions and tidied up, but as I say, I wanted to get the video done rather than spend any more time because we're coming to the end of the month. So, is there anything else? No, I do not think so. Well, I can show you the structure. Let's go and show you that. So display and audio. So audio is pretty simple. Three variables, 2 floats, effects volume, audio volume, and a string audio quality. You set default values, so that if there's a problem, that's the value that goes in and it doesn't break. 0.4 was the default value, I think, in SoF2, so that's output for the volume and effects. And then high, 32 channels for the audio quality. Display is a little bit more. Overall quality, which is a string array, that's just like low, medium, low, normal, high, or ultra. The enumeration for the full screen mode, which is windowed, full screen, and windowed. GL driver, video mode, visual effects, quality, anti-aliasing. So that's all it is. So just they come back as integers, and then depending on integer, you apply the text, and vertical syncage to the boolean. So that's it. Oh, I was going to show you the code. So that's the code for the font. We don't have to use that now, but this guy's done quite a good bit of work. Much kudos to this guy, this OMG WTF LOL.rivercrew.net. As I say, he stopped in 2014, but he's done quite a lot of work, and there's something very interesting here. I've only had a brief look at this, but it seems this SV underscore files seems to be the sort of server code, dedicated server code. Well, not just dedicated, but if that's, I've only just briefly looked through it. If that's the code to run the server, that's exactly what I'm looking for to use to run it, to get a dedicated server software done. So there is quite a lot of good stuff in there. As I say, I've only just looked through it, but all the code for basically everything that I might need for the opening of the PK3 files, Go2 shader code, it's all there. So, and if you want to have a look, as I say, the address there, omgwtfll.rivercrew.net, and the source code is available there, so you can have a look if you want. It really is quite good. So I think that's everything I wanted to show you today. As I say, we've got the display and audio settings pretty much done. I'll tidy up that code and finish it up over the next couple of days. Anyway, I definitely want to have all the options done. Sections, pages like mods and stuff that aren't going to be any problem at all, because I'm not really going to do them via Onslaught as well. The create server page isn't going to be too much of a problem because I'm not actually going to load a map file yet. The join server though, I'm actually quite looking forward to making that. But once that's done, that's pretty much the user interface, first run code done. I will then move on to loading a map and getting the actual game done. So we are getting there. We are moving forward slowly, but we are definitely getting there. If there's anything you wish to know, comments, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. My email address is aonakf@outlook.com. Get in touch, let me know what you think. And if you can always head over to Patreon and throw a few shekels my way. It's entirely up to yourself if you like what I'm doing. So, thank you for watching, and until next time, see you later.